Everybody, welcome back to another ASUS ROG Ally video with this very nice Windows handheld PC that ASUS UK have lent me to play with for the last few weeks. And in this video, I want to show you how you can access the driver software for the AMD drivers that run the graphics on this machine. Because although we do have the command center, and we do have Armory crate where you can go in and you can update stuff, and that's all very good. That lags behind what you can actually do with the AMD drivers for the graphics chip on this amazing little device. Especially as now we have AMD AFMF available, which is fluid motion frames, which is you've got to see it to believe it, to how good it is to work. So how do you access this stuff? Well, to access it directly, if you go down to your taskbar down here and then click on there, it's probably running already, AMD Software Adrenaline Edition. I know this might be a little bit difficult to see. Or you could go and you could search for AMD and then get it running down there. And then what you need to do is if you just press your trigger to kind of, that would be left click, then you open up the software. Now it can be a little bit buggy, this. Sometimes it does crash, maybe because they've just done some updates. There's loads of fantastic information in this about the performance of games and things like that. But if what we're really after is how to change things, if you go to gaming and then go to graphics, you kind of have these presets that you can use, or you can scroll down and you can turn things on and off. So, for example, at the moment, because I'm doing a little bit of testing with AMD FMF, I've just got that enabled and anti-lag enabled in the global settings. You can set settings by game if you want. So nice and easy. That's how you get in there, and that's how you can turn it on or off. Now, the other thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is the overlay. Now, the problem with the overlay that's in Command Center, the one that runs at the top, is that if you've got AFMF enabled at the time of recording this video, anyway, this may well change, the frame counter, the FPS you're seeing is wrong, because AFMF is it's kind of a driver level process that is happening and creating frames in between the frames that your game is creating, and this overlay can't detect that. So if you want to have an idea of actually what your ROG Ally is creating, you need to use the AMD overlay. And so you go to Performance, and then we go down here, see where it says Overlay, and we click on Overlay, and you say Enable Metrics Overlay. And again, this might be a little bit difficult to see on these videos. You'll have to go full screen, but we've got FPS, frame time, GPU utility, GPU power, GPU temp, and CPU utility. And then if we go to, well, we can change the size as well. That might make it a bit easier. So you can, there you go. Let's do it to that so you can see it a little bit better. Obviously, you don't need it that big in reality, but for the case of this video. And then if you go back to the tracking tab, when you scroll down, you can actually add things like a graph to the FPS and a graph to the GPU instead of just having a figure, so you can see it sort of spiking up and down. Because we all know one of the problems with Windows is it loves to do things in the background when you're playing your games that can cause spikes and lags and stuff like that. So that's really good. And the other really good thing about this particular overlay is that the operating system detects it properly, and the fact that you can do stuff behind the overlay. Because one of the problems I've had with the Armory crate overlay is that often, well, all the time, if you're on the overlay with your mouse cursor, you can't click on what's behind the overlay. It's almost like it's another window or that's on top of everything. Where with this one, you can do whatever you want behind. It works fine. And then when you go into a game with this particular overlay on, it'll work with the AMD Fluid Motion Frames, AFMF, which is very, very cool indeed. Just a final thing there before we end. Remember, if you are using AMD AFMF, you've got to make sure that you want your refresh rate up at 120 hertz. Well, this is what they've said. I've done some testing at 60 hertz, and it does seem to work. Now, in my testing so far, if you're like me, you've got a ROG Ally non-extreme version and you run it at 720p to get performance, that works fine. But you've got to make sure in the game that you're in, the game is running in full screen mode. You don't have FPS, you don't have VSync turned on, and you also have it running at the highest FPS available, so like 120 frames a second, and that should work fine. So there we go. That is how you access the graphics driver level software on your ROG Ally, and how you can bring up the driver level AMD overlay as well, so you can actually get a better idea of performance. Okay, that's enough from me. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you have it, like, if you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.